I sacrificed my bass career for love, and in the end I lost both. That's not just a dramatic title, that's exactly what happened to me in my early 30s. I thought giving up gigs, opportunities, and a big part of my musical identity would somehow save my relationship. Instead, it slowly killed my joy, my confidence, and the connection we were trying so hard to protect. Maybe you know this tension. You've got a partner, maybe kids, a job, a life that demands a lot from you. And somewhere in the middle of it all sits your bass. A gig you say yes to can feel like you're betraying your family. Every gig you say no to feels like you're betraying yourself. You start cutting back, just for now, and suddenly years have gone by and you barely recognize the musician you once were. In this episode, I want to show you what I did wrong, why pure sacrifice is a trap, and what I wish I had understood much earlier. Your partner doesn't need the empty, reasonable version of you. They need the real you, including the part that comes alive when you play. We'll talk about how to reflect honestly on what matters, how to communicate your needs without attacking or blaming, and how to design agreements that protect both your family and your music instead of forcing you to choose. Fellow sufferer, welcome to podcast number 9. Are you ready for this? I'm Sascha on bass. Let's go. In my 30s, my career worked its way. Man, this is deep shit today. I'm telling you. This is really a hot topic. In the end of my 20s and my early 30s, my career went very well. I was still studying. I got more gigs, more opportunities, more offers, more bands. And everything worked pretty well the way I was imagining it years before. And my relationship changed a bit of that. My path was clear at the time, and my identity was really tied to being a bass player. And this relationship I was in, it was actually the first serious relationship I ever was in. I was 27 when we met, and at the time I was not only studying bass and making my career as it worked, I was also longing for a relationship. And since I haven't had a real relationship, I feel bad as a man, you know. I haven't been with a girl for more than a few months at the time. When I was 27, I was a late bloomer. And when I learned to know my partner at the time, I was really in love, and I had the feeling that this is it. And when we get to know each other, I told her that I don't want to be the touring musician, because that was something she was afraid of. She was afraid of falling in love with a musician that has its career ahead of him, and he probably won't be at home for taking a relationship seriously. And at the time, I wasn't honest to myself. I wanted my career, but I also wanted this relationship. So I, with myself, agreed to take a step back from my career to make this relationship possible. And at the time, as I said, I got more and more gigs, more and more opportunities, which I liked very much. I learned a lot, and I was improving my bass playing. You know, my bass playing got better. I was also doing double bass. But then in our relationship early on, there came a point where she felt like we have to talk serious about this, and so we made a deal. And this was one of the the biggest mistakes maybe I did. The deal was so that I can assure her that I will not be touring and gigging all the time. We determined a number of gigs I would be playing within a month. And I said that I wanted to play a maximum of 4 gigs a month. And this was something we agreed on. And that was what we made happen. So we focused on more time, more presence. I focused on more time, more presence, less constant music first, less travel, fewer late nights. And it didn't took a long time that I noticed that I'm cutting off myself. There were many times that I had the opportunity to play more gigs to earn more money, opportunities of playing with new people. And I couldn't take them. Or the situation was that every time I had a 5th gig in the month, I had to ask for permission. And this was something that really didn't work out. I remember that it made our relationship very tense. And it was always hustling. So I had to go there and ask for permission to play another gig. And what happened was that we both got more frustrated. I think I got more depressed. There were another reason why I got depressed. Maybe I mentioned earlier I was pretty sick at the time. Also, it was also a big thing in our relationship because I had severe problems with neurodermatitis. My skin was really badly inflamed. 80% of my skin was really badly inflamed, and you wouldn't recognize myself how I looked 15 years from now. It was really, I was suffering, and it was getting worse and worse. But anyway, the gig thing was really becoming a problem, and my illness grew later on in the relationships. So we were both still not fully satisfied because the deeper issue aren't solved by someone in the relationship quitting on their aspirations or their needs. I knew I could do so much more. I wanted to do so much more. But I also wanted this relationship, some 3 years in or so. I really wanted that. We had a dog. We had a dog like we found in Greece in our vacation, a little baby dog puppy. And we were a little family with like responsibilities, And it was particularly hard for me also because only a few years earlier I discovered Hadrian Farad for the first time, and this was really, it changed my life in 2 ways. One way was that I was so inspired by Hadrian Farad, both his playing and his sound on the instrument with his instrument. This burner really, the sound of this bass really changed something for me. And the other thing that it changed my life was I was shocked. I was really shocked what Hadrian is doing on the bass. I was aiming for a career for becoming a serious bass player in the scene in Germany, maybe in Europe. I was naive at the time, but I wanted that. And when I saw Hadrian, I thought, forget it, man. Before I saw Hadrian, I was very inspired with Matt Garrison, but Hadrian really, that was so good, that was so unbelievable, incredibly good what he was doing. I thought, forget it, I cannot come anywhere near that. And yeah, so I don't have to tell the whole story about that, but that was something that was happening to me. So the compromise that was supposed to save our relationship made both of us more unhappy. And in the end, I lost my relationship and my bass career at the same time, because I cut down on opportunities, on gigs. I cut down on more practicing and stuff. I mean, I did practice a lot. And just to make this clear, this was not my girlfriend's fault. It was my fault. Because I wasn't honest in the beginning with myself and with her. I wanted more, and I was afraid to lose this new woman in my life that I was very much in love in. So I said, I can do that. I mean, I have been on tour. I have been around quite a bit, so I'm fine. I'm a grown up now. I'm gonna take it with I want to try something new and try a serious life with a partner and living together. So that was my thinking, and I think that is kind of logical also. But I betrayed myself, and I felt this later on, and I was unhappy and depressed. I felt like a fraud, like a loser on the bass, and all this slowly blended into my relationship. Yeah. And that was really bad. Yeah. So I wish I would have done it differently in that days, but I didn't. And I want to talk about what I would do differently today, and maybe what you can do to prevent yourself from doing foolish decisions. I really believe that selfishness, a healthy selfishness, is one of the most important things for you as a human being, because I'm convinced that if you are not taking care of yourself, if you're not selfish enough to be very clear about what you need in your life, what you need for yourself, you cannot be, I don't like the word happy so much, and I think fulfilled is too big word, but if you don't take care of your inner needs, of your identity, if you don't take care for that, by being selfish, by saying, no, I need this for me, this is important for me, it's gonna be unhealthy or toxic, and it can be very bad for your relationship, for work, for your family, and it's all gonna come back in a bad way. You get the idea. Yeah, that is, I'm really convinced that, and I think it's a dangerous path to go, to not watch your needs, or not being aware about them, you know. I've seen so many couples, friends, marriages that look to me like those people, they don't take care of themselves. They're giving themselves up or falling down apart or so, you know. Yeah, so I think this is really dangerous. This can be toxic. So and I want to share these thoughts so we all can prevent ourselves from that. So, but before we go into what I wish I had done differently, I want to tell you, if you're trying to stay connected to your musical self in the middle of work, family, and chaos, I made a free PDF for you, the Melodic Minor First Aid. It's a quick, practical guide to get your hands and ears back into motion in just a few focused minutes. The Melodic Minor sound will give you a major level up in your playing. So grab my free guide and get familiar with the sound. You'll find the link in the description, grab it for free, and use it as your little lifeline back to your bass or to new endeavors. Okay, let's talk about what I should have done instead and what you can do before you reach the point where you're losing both your relationship and your musical life. What I would do if I was 30 again, I would ask myself very important questions, and that would be what is important for me. I did this already when I was back then in my early 30s. I did ask myself what is important to me, but I wasn't honest enough to myself. And I think what you need to do is to sit down with the different areas of your life, and you have to rank or weight them very brutal honestly. How important is your partner to yourself? How important are your kids to yourself? How important is your music for you? Your artistic identity? Your job? Is your job being a musician, being a music teacher, or are you doing anything else and doing music on the side? How important is your financial stability or your health? I think it's necessary that you make yourself very clear about that. There is no healthy version of my partner and kids are 80%, music is just 20%. And I'm totally fine with that. If music is at 20 on paper but 80 in your heart, that tension will leak out somewhere. This will at some point come out in your relationship in form of irritations, passive aggressionness, numbness, or even a midlife crisis even. You can see warning signs that you are already betraying yourself. You know, like these constant irritability at home over small things, little fights, small things, or you know, when you start fighting about little things, I believe this is more like a symptom and not the root of a problem. And maybe what also can happen is that you secretly feel jealous about other musicians, or like myself back then, you are angry that you couldn't take a gig because you had to go to the baseball game of your 6-year-old. Or, I mean, this sounds horrible, but we can be real about this, right? I mean, it's nothing bad about that you feel or thinking, I don't want to go to the baseball game, I want to play a gig. If it's so, it's a dilemma you're in, and you can fix that. But the point I'm trying to make here is that if we are honest about this, you can try to initiate another way, or a way with your partner together, how to solve this. You can lie to your calendar, but you can't lie to yourself. So you can make it different than I did it back then. And I believe what you can do is sit down and talk. This is what we did. And we were talking long, but to be honest, I was 30, 32, 33, 29. I wasn't as emotional mature as I am today. Over the years, I learned a lot, especially in communication. also in English. But my English, to be honest, I feel bad so many times about my English here on the podcast, because it's very hard for me to talk freely. I notice this every time. It's very hard for me. So I beg your pardon for my bad English. I'm really trying to improve here. But what I wanted to say, that back then we were talking, but what I learned over the years is it makes such a difference how you talk. And I discovered, it's been a few years now, I discovered the book Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. He was a psychologist, and he had this amazing idea on how we talk to each other, and this was really game-changing point in my life when I read this book, and another one about it. And it was like seeing how I function when I'm with people, when I'm talking to people, when I'm in a discussion or a dispute, and I learned a lot about it. It's basically about empathy, and when you sit down and talk to your partner to change the situation you're in, it will not help if you yell at her or him, saying something, "I want my freedom back. You take my freedom away. I'm imprisoned here. I can't do what I want." But what you could do instead is to say, "This is what I need to keep my identity. This is what I need for my life. I feel like this when I'm not having this." So you can structure the conversation if you sit down with your partner because you want to change something, if you want to make room for more of your topics in your life beside partnership and family and kids. You can sit down and have a conversation, and what is a very crucial thing is when you have a dispute is that you put the empathy first. Show that you see your partner. Show that you understand how they feel, how she feels, how he feels. Say something like, "I see you. I know how much you carry. I know me being away on weekends is heavy on you." Or, "I understand why you are frustrated or tired of these discussions." So if you show understanding and empathy for the other one, this is a general principle, for every conversation. If you show empathy and for the other person, and tell her that you understand her or his view, and this is not just about telling. This is a very crucial point. Nonviolent communication isn't about the way you say things. It is about how you feel. If you are able to feel empathy for the other one. So this is basically what you do. You try to put yourself in place of the other person and try to feel or be aware of what she or he might be feeling. And this is what you give. And what you can do then is that you talk about your feelings. And what is crucial there is that you don't use this you sentences. You probably heard about this. In the space in the bubble I am in with my people, we know all this. The you messages. If you say, "You make me feel like you always keep the toilet seats up, or you never put away your dishes, whatever. If you speak in these you messages, it is never good for having a dispute or having a conversation. It just doesn't work this way, because the other person will always feel offended. But what you can do is you talk about yourself, and with nonviolent communication, I don't know if this is just from the nonviolent communication from Rosenberg, but if you talk about your feelings, this is so powerful, because it puts the other one in your shoes, and it makes the other one more likely to feel empathy with you. And this is what you want in a conversation, right? You want the other person to understand you. This puts you in a better position, because the other one understands you and can feel empathy with you. You can say things like, I need you, I need the kids, I need this family, and I also need my playing, I also need my bands, I also need playing bass. This isn't just a hobby that I can switch off. It is part of my identity. And maybe with this comes buying a new amplifier, or a new effect, or a new bass, or whatever. Oh gosh, man, these discussions, huh? When I look back, oh my God. Yeah. So being honest about what you really feel and what this makes with your life, and that's a crucial point. And what you can offer is, I want us to have a plan, or design a plan together that works for ourselves, that we work together with the things we need from each other, and what you need and what I need. You know, I hope I'm not saying something wrong here, because most of you are grown-ups, you have your families, and you know, to be honest, I don't have my own kids. I have a godson, he's 8, because I decided to not have kids. I have family, you know, like parents, and the family of my godson. This is my family. They mean a lot to me, and I see them often. You know, my godson is not like a boy that I bring a Christmas gift and a birthday present twice a year. I see him a lot. We spend a lot of time together, and after his parents, his mother always tells me I'm number 2. And I love him. I really love him. So I have family, but I don't have kids. I don't have kids here in my house. He is my kid, in a way, but you know what I'm trying to say. So I want to mention that I know that you probably have lots of experience in handling this and communicating already with your partner. But anyway, let's find a structure for yourself and that you can offer your partner. Let's find a way how you could say to your partner, for instance, how you don't feel abandoned, and I don't feel like I'm killing off my music. What you should avoid in these discussions is a victim language. Like I said, the you messages, right? You never let me play, you never let me do the gigs or something. You should also avoid martyr language, like fine, I'll just quit them if that's what you want. And what also is very bad on top, then like last minute surprises. By the way, I'm gonna be gone all Sunday, you know, and you say that at Friday evening or something. So if you need more time for playing bass, you want more time for playing bass, it's always about time trading. If you want to have more time for playing bass, you have to cut the time of something else. And you don't have to cut the time from your family. You know, oftentimes you can easily cut time from scrolling on your smartphone or using social media or stuff like that. So you should cut from there in the first place. With your partner, you maybe could create rules like I did in the past, with the 4 gigs a month. My opinion, that didn't work. It maybe works for other couples. I wouldn't recommend that because life is dynamic and things change. Your desires change, kids' schedule change, work changes, everything changes. And I think what really works best is that you sit down with your partner and make a plan. You could make clear what is important family time that you can't miss. You could map out Saturday morning or Saturday noon is family time, or Sunday or whatever. You can fit in this little spaces where it's sure that there will not be any music time. But and the other way around, you can say like 2 times in a week you can have some bass spots where you can play. I have students that do things like this. That they with their wife, they have this spots like Tuesday evening, Thursday evening. They have their 1 hour practice cave where they can do what they want. And mommy and daddy knows, mommy and your kids know daddy's in his practice cave and he's going to play there for 2 hours or 1 hour and he's not going to be disturbed. What also helps is when you should miss a baseball game or a family barbecue, acknowledge that this is a big deal. It is a big deal if you're not there, or at the play of your daughter or whatever. It is a big deal, and don't say you will make up for that if you don't. But you really can make up for it, and like having a one-on-one day with your child, or like a really nice time with your wife. But what's necessary to do that probably is to plan. And I'm such a big fan of structuring, and you could structure that. You could, for example, share calendars. Maybe you're doing it already, families have shared calendars, of course, but maybe the digital ones also. And what really could help is that you sit down every 2 or 3 months and evaluate the next 3 months, or how did the last 3 months work with this schedule, or with the gigs you were playing, or the rehearsals, or everything you did with your bass. How did it work for the family? Could you take part of everything that was happening around the family, and with appointments and everything, and you could, if you leave things vague and just let things happen, it can move in the back there, and you don't care a lot, and these things can grow inside without you telling, within your partner, within yourself. Like with your partner, if you have too many gigs and she doesn't like that, or with yourself, if you have too less gigs or too less time for yourself. But if you sit down every 2 or 3 months and evaluate how it's working, how are the next month are going to be, you can adjust, and you can and this is the most important part, you can talk to each other. What do you need from each other within the next times, And of course, there are always times that are tougher than other times. But if you watch them closely, and if you are aware how your family time is, how your gig time, work time is, your career, your practicing, you can make a real difference here. So communication is key. I don't know if there is a saying in English, probably there is, I don't know it. In German we would say like communication is key. And this is something that can really help your relationship. And this is not a small thing, I really think if you get used to not playing because you simply have no time, because you have to be there for the family, and of course, if you have kids, you have the responsibility, but you also have the responsibility for you. And if you are not satisfied with your life, if you don't want to have so much family time because you don't have time for playing bass, it can become dangerous for your family and your relationship. And I think you and me, we don't want this to happen. We want to have it right in the first place. And this is where you can make adjustments so this does not happen. Okay, I think I'd like to wrap it up for today. Don't make the same mistakes as I did. Be honest to yourself. Be honest to yourself how important things in life are to you. How important is bass playing for you? And what happens if you neglect how important that is for you? And for yourself, if you deny it to yourself and to your family. Make a plan, make good communication with the people who are affected by this, and try to make a plan. Try to arrange things and evaluate them over time with your family. How is this schedule working out? Is everybody happy? Not everybody can be happy, but it's important that you take care of yourself and your family. But it's important that you take care of yourself. Yeah. Okay. I'm lost for words right now. Don't make the same mistakes as I did. And one thing again, don't make the mistake of not downloading my Melodic Minor First Aid PDF, because it's a killer help for you to learn Melodic Minor. It's a sound that will help you level up your playing so much, and it is not that hard. There are a few memory tricks to learn. And with this free PDF, 6 pages, you read it in 10 minutes. You can apply it again today. It's a quick win for you. No big deal, so download it now. Links in the description. And after all this heavy stuff talking, maybe you want to have something nice and easy to go along with. So if you want to have a nice way to play complex improvisation on easy pop tunes, you can click this video right here. Fellow sufferer, thank you so much for watching, to joining this channel. It means a lot to me, really. I wish you all the best for the week. Take care of yourself and your family and your needs. Thanks for watching. Have a good one and see you next time. Bye.